press. So for the non-traditional movement, I chose the log press. I was interested in this movement because it is similar to the clean and jerk, which is a CrossFit-oriented movement, but the log press is a strongman lift. So these are two realms of fitness and weightlifting I wish I had more experience in. So I wanted to learn a little bit about the movement and how to perform it. So in this video, I'll go over the movement, cues to help lift, and some common errors, and then also some cues to correct the errors. So I'll show the movement first and then break it down. So the first step of the movement is hinging down and grabbing the log. So I'm standing with my feet shoulder width apart with the log over my midfoot. I tilt the handles away from me as it makes the rest of the movement easier. I then hinge down to the log. I brace my core before I hinge, thinking about how I would contract my abdominals if someone were about to punch me in the stomach. Then for hinging down to the bar, I think about keeping my tibias perpendicular to the ground and then just to push my butt back, making sure that my butt is lower than my shoulders. Once I've hinged properly, I grab the bar with a neutral grip and then I retract and depress my shoulder blades like I'm trying to cover my armpit so no one can tickle me. Once I've grabbed the bar, I stand up with my arms fully extended and locked out. And to get up, I'm extending my hips and knees at the same time, thinking about keeping my torso angle constant and not letting my butt rise before my shoulders. Once I'm standing erect, it is time to begin the transition phase. I squat down with the bar resting on top of my legs in one stable. I squat the bar up, thinking about driving my legs through the ground and extending my hips forward. At the same time, I'm pulling the bar close to me as to not let it fall forward or over my midfoot. I try to get my elbows up and under the log with the elbows pointing forward and my triceps parallel to the ground. At the top of this phase, the thoracic back may be hyperextended to create a bigger base for the log to rest. The lower back or lumbar back should not be hyperextended, as injury could occur here. So to create this hyperextension, I'm thinking about retracting and depressing my shoulder blades and keeping my ribs up like I'm arching for a powerlifting style bench press. Now once I'm standing erect with a bar on my chest, it's time to begin the final section of this movement, which is the push up. This is the first time log pressing, so I try my best here, but my elbows are pointing as forward as I can with the triceps still parallel to the ground. I unlock my hips and knees the slightest bit to get ready for the push, and as I re-extend my hip and I re-extend my knees, I'm drawing my arms through the log, thinking about pushing up through the ceiling. Once near lockout, I cue myself to push my head through my arms. To lower the log, I gradually release my tricep extension and let the bar slowly come down onto my shoulders. I then slowly roll the bar down my body, and hinge my hips. I let my quads take some of the impact on the way down, and then more desired reps can be completed from the starting position if desired. So I gave you a side angle of me doing the log press. So now I'll give you a front angle of me doing the log press, and then I'll also give you a side angle of my cousin and a front angle of my cousin doing the log press because he's a little better at it than I am because he competes in strongman. So now that you have seen a couple of clips on how to do the log press and some cues to perform it correctly, I will show you a few common errors and how to correct them using cues. So the first common error or mistake occurs after standing erect and getting ready for the squat portion of the movement. When the log is resting on the legs, getting ready to ascend, the log should come up with the legs and not be curled up to the shoulders like a bicep curl. This could result in injury. A lot of this time, this may occur because the athlete comes too forward on their toes, pushing the log away from them, leaving the arms in an extended position, and therefore having to curl the log up after the athlete has stood erect or almost erect. To prevent this, a cue used is to keep the arms flexed and pull the log into you and up as you squat the log up. Here is an example of coming too forward on your toes and then leaving the athlete in leaving the log in an undesirable position. I'll play this again and zoom in on the toes and then the bicep curl with the log so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Another common mistake during the log press is improper breathing patterns. Some people may try to do this lift all in one breath, or worse, not breathing properly through the whole entire lift. There are multiple motions that occur in the log press, and all of them need proper bracing and breathing to be completed in a safe and proper manner. The first time to breathe is when you pick up the log, so the athlete should take a big breath and brace the core. The next time the athlete should breathe is when the bar is resting on the legs before squatting it up. Again, a big breath should be taken and the core should be braced properly again. Lastly, when the athlete is standing and the log press is ready to occur, the athlete should then brace, take a breath and then brace, and then begin the press. In this video, you could hear the breathing patterns during the lift. So for the regression of the log press, I chose a standing Swiss bar shoulder press. So the Swiss bar has multiple rungs on it, like a ladder, and you could still hold that neutral grip, as you can see in the video here. I thought it was a great movement that kind of resembles the top of the log press, because at the top of the log press, you're still holding the log in a neutral grip, and this Swiss bar allows you to perform the top of the movement, which is pretty specific to the log press in terms of movement patterns and how you're actually getting the log up at the top of the press. So you could do this movement, the Swiss bar, and combine that with maybe a conventional deadlift to try to get the two movements of the exercises together that will mimic the log press. And for the progression of the log press, I thought it would be beneficial for the athlete to perform multiple reps of the log press, because that will build endurance and muscle and hypertrophy at the top of the lift. So the athlete can either perform multiple log presses at the top or restart the whole movement and do the movement multiple times, start to finish.